It is 10:04 in the evening in Warsaw, Poland. That's not the president's plane. That, we are told, is not Air Force One. That's a support plane. It looks a lot like Air Force One. It's a 747, but support personnel is on that plane. The president, though, is due to arrive any moment. 10:15 p.m. Warsaw time is his official time of arrival. Of course, they are expert at arriving just when they are planning to arrive. So we suspect they will make that time, particularly since the advanced vehicle has landed. We'll take you there as soon as it happens. Of course, he is meeting with other world leaders at the G20 summit later this week. That's in Germany. Earlier today, though, the president was lashing out at China, tweeting, quote, "The United States made some of the worst trade deals in world history. Why should we continue with these deals with countries that don't help us?" And trade between China and North Korea grew almost 40% in the first quarter. So much for China working with us, but we had to give it a try. Let's bring in today's panel. Veronica Dagher from the Wall Street Journal and Heather Zumarraga from SunAmerica Funds. Good to see you both. Veronica, first, let's start with North Korea, because that is really weighing on the markets today, weighing on a lot of people's minds, wondering what's going to happen. Now, China's own, a lot of people wonder where Donald Trump got that statistic, that they've increased their trade with North Korea by 40%. That comes from China's own data. They don't put it at 40%. They say it's 37.4% increase in trade, despite the fact that they've cut back on coal. So what's going on there?
It's tough to say what's going on there, but in the meantime, we're going to hear Trump potentially putting more pressure on China. Now, if you're an average person at home, you're worried about the situation in North Korea. You don't know what this means for your security domestically and abroad if you're going to travel abroad. Worried of what this could mean for your investments. There's a lot of uncertainty attached to North Korea, and so there's a lot of people saying, okay, what's our plan? What's our strategy as a country? Yeah. And they're really looking to President Trump for leadership on this. By
the way, Heather, there was a huge increase in iron ore from North Korea going to China. That might have been a big part of it. But as we await the president, the real focus right now is on Europe. His first meeting, of course, everybody was complaining about the Europeans don't like him, and oh my goodness, what's that going to mean for trade? Well, it turns out he got what he wanted, or a large part of what he wanted, from the NATO deal. They increased their military spending, as he said they should. Now they're kind of worrying about the trade deals, all the individual trade deals are going to make. But I'm wondering if they won't do what he says they should do in the end there as well.
Yeah, David, he wants free trade that's fair. That's what this is all about. It's not about limiting free trade. It's about fair trade. And I think the broader issue is about currencies. That's where we should be focused, that China has a history of suppressing their currency, and this makes their exports cheaper. And that's why there may be some rumors of policies that would put pressure on certain commodities coming out of China to the U.S. in a way of punishing China for manipulating their currency and having these cheap exports to the U.S., which in the end hurts jobs. He wants to keep American jobs here at home. That's his end game.
Investors still waiting on health care reform, and they might have to keep on waiting.
I don't think we're getting anywhere with the bill we have. We're at an impasse. Every time you add more federal money, more spending for the big government Republicans, it offends the conservatives. So right now, this bill, which is not a repeal, has become the kitchen sink. The bill is just being lit up like a Christmas tree full of billion-dollar ornaments.
Veronica, everybody at home is going, when they see that. What do you think?
You know what? A lot of people at home are thinking, you guys had 7 years to get a bill together, and you still don't have anything to show for it. Some people are saying, you know, it doesn't repeal the ACA enough. Some people, it repeals too much. You're spending too much. You're spending too little. Which is it? And is there actually something going to happen? All the while, we've got the backdrop of midterms elections looming for some of these Republican senators, so that may tie their hands. Not to mention, the clock is ticking on tax reform. When are we going to see that?
I mean, Heather, come on. It's called a deal. Get it together, guys.
Get it done. Yeah, agreed. Again, Rand Paul, I don't think wants to be an obstructionist in the sense of not passing legislation. Well, we'd like to hope so. If you want to give him the better end of, let's just give him a chance or a shot here. What he's looking for is that in order to get this done, if they don't think they can get it done the way it stands now, then they do know that almost all Republicans, except for one, have agreed that they want to repeal Obamacare. So that's what he's going after. If you repeal it, then that forces everyone to work together to come up with a replacement. That's Plan B for him.
Okay, we again are about 6 minutes away from the president arriving in Warsaw. But I want to switch for a moment, Heather, to Volvo, because it's phasing out its traditional engines, announcing that all of its new cars are going to be fully electric or hybrid by 2019. And this is on the day when we see a drop in oil of over 4%. We're getting gas prices that haven't been this low in a long time. I mean, the timing just doesn't seem to be right here.
Yeah, it's not, David. This is scary because at the same time oil's dropping, it makes gas prices cheaper for the consumer. So that's why you see them stocking up on F-150s and these big SUVs, because there isn't as big of a demand for electric vehicles with gas prices so low.
All right, cracking down on handouts. Some states are seeing enrollment numbers for food stamps plummet, where applicants are forced to either find a job or participate in workforce training programs. Veronica, I mean, I was just looking up some stats here that were in the Wall Street Journal this morning. 55% of American adults who are 18 to 64 have full-time jobs. So that means 45% don't. They're still able-bodied Americans in that great work age where you're supposed to be out there working for your family. What's going on?
And a lot of them are men, which is the sad part. So we need to do something about this. The fact is, states before have required people to go back to work or search for work in order to get these benefits. So this isn't anything new. I think the goal here is to have people become financially empowered, or no matter what their situation. So what's going to make them independent? What's going to make them empowered? And we know for a fact work does that.
Yeah. I mean, Heather, we just look at this and you see the labor force participation rate for men between 25 and 54 is lower now than it was at the end of the Great Depression.
Yes, that's who we're targeting, able bodies, young Americans that can work. We don't want children, the elderly, or disabled to lose welfare or any assistance that they may have. But those that can work, welfare is not meant to be permanent. It's meant to assist people to get back into the workplace and be a short-term policy.
Veronica, Heather, thank you so much.